Students, you're looking at my desktop screen. I'm screencasting a brief science lesson. The goal of this is to get you to use the video lesson plus any text you read, put the two together, synthesize, and maybe come up with some new realizations based on these two layers of knowledge, video and text. I'd like you to be able to better understand the difference between what's called renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Just for reference, if you want to look at the words here, we have renewable versus non-renewable, renewable resources versus non-renewable resources. There is a big difference between the two, but let's start with what I've got set up for us. Our Earth has lots of resources. Some resources are natural, meaning that they come from nature, like the sun, like the wind, and some are not natural, meaning as humans, we need to do something to be able to make that resource or bring that resource out of the ground or create the resource after we start with a little bit of something to start it with. So we've got many resources here on Earth, from fish to trees to natural gas to sunlight, to cows, to water, to oil and soil. There's a lot of resources. Some of them are classified as renewable. Some of them are classified as non-renewable. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to first just get an understanding of what is considered renewable and what, or at least what a definition is for renewable resources and what a definition is for non-renewable resources. It says in your text that renewable resources or materials are resources that are continually being replaced and will not run out. Anything that is considered to be a renewable resource will not run out because it will be replaced somehow, whether that's naturally, and usually it is naturally, or whether there's something done, they'll just never run out. For example, air is a renewable resource. Crops can be renewable resources. If we replant crops, we'll have new crops, so we won't run out of crops. Water can be a renewable resource for many individuals. We can recycle water and clean water and then send it through the water treatment system again. And so, we're not going to run out of it if we continue to reuse it and clean it. So what we're going to do here is take a look at some resources that are not considered renewable. These are called non-renewable resources. These resources are not renewable because they cannot be replaced quickly enough to keep from running out. So these things can run out eventually, and they eventually all will run out because at some point we will not be able to replace them any longer. Things like coal and oil and natural gas. These are things that have formed very slowly over a long period of time from the remains of plants and animals that lived long ago. So take, for example, dinosaurs. The dinosaurs lived many millions of years ago, and they died, and their bodies, they fossilized, and the dinosaurs decomposed. And eventually animals millions of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, like dinosaurs, that eventually died and decomposed their bodies, created materials and substances in the ground, and basically kind of like oil and coal and stuff like that, from remains of plants and animals, not just dinosaurs, but animals of long ago. And they've created things now like coal and oil, and it's more complex than that. But these things like coal and oil, natural gas, they will run out. They're called non-renewable. So to end this video lesson, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some pictures up here, and you can guess, infer, and also learn and study as I'm teaching this to you, whether this earth resource is renewable or non-renewable. So let's take a look at trees. Now, we'll ask ourselves, can trees be replaced? If we replant the trees, they can be replaced. It's also a part of nature. This is considered a renewable resource. Let's take a look at oil. Oil One day we will run out of oil. There's only a limited amount in our Earth's uh, crust, in the ground, I should say, and in the ocean, below the ocean. There's just a limited amount, and we'll run out of it one day. We're never going to be able to make more so that it can replace all of it. One day we will run out of oil. And when we run out of oil, we won't be able to make plastic in the same way. We'll have to think of a different way to make plastic. Let's take a look at another thing. Fish. Fish are considered a renewable resource as well. Um, Fish can reproduce. They can have babies. They can make more fish. So fish that have been used or caught and harvested uh, can we can have more fish. Even though we're using fish, we can have more fish because they will reproduce. The same is true of cows. Um, Animals are natural resources. They are renewable because animals can reproduce and animals can make more animals, like having babies. And so, therefore, we won't run out of animals. Now, you could argue that to some point we could have animals become extinct and therefore they're not really renewable. And that would be a fair argument as well. What do you think about sunlight? I think sunlight is a renewable resource. Will we ever run out of it? Well, one day the sun will uh, stop. It won't shine. It will actually expand and turn into a red giant, and it will then shrink back and it won't shine anymore. So in that sense, I guess it's not renewable, but it will outlast many humans. That's for sure. So we do consider it a renewable resource. It's also nature based, and most things in nature are renewable resources. Let's take a look at vegetables. What do you think about vegetables? Can we renew this resource? We can if we plant more vegetables. We won't run out of vegetables. And coal. What do you think about coal? Coal is a natural occurring substance in Earth, but there's only a limited amount of it. We cannot just make coal. It exists in the ground, much how oil exists in the ground, and we've got to take the oil, and we've got to take the coal and extract it out of the ground. And once we've extracted all the oil and all the coal, we won't be able to make any more oil or coal. Wind is not something we make. We don't make it. It's a natural occurring resource, and it's renewable. It will just keep making itself in that way. So you've seen some resources that are renewable, like wind. They make themselves. We won't run out of them. Like fish. Fish can reproduce and they can make more of themselves. So we will not run out of fish. But things like oil, one day we'll run out of all the oil on Earth. So that's considered a non-renewable resource. The same is true of coal. One day we'll run out of coal. And we won't have enough coal in the ground or any more in the ground, so we'll run out of coal. These things, though, will take a long, long time to run out, we're thinking, at this point. But it really depends on how we treat and how we use our Earth and how many resources we extract from it. All right, you can go ahead and take the survey and read the text. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.